waiting for people to come to me.
But it's not automatic. You have to use your pass.
Yeah.
That's all right. I told them to give me a call if I couldn't get in. So if my phone goes off, I'll run out and go and get them. Super. But I think we'll make a start. So I'll just begin by doing a welcome of the country. So by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land of which we meet today and paying my respect to the elders past and present, I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders peoples here today. It's a bit sad that I have to read that off the poster, isn't it?
You'll eventually.
Yeah. You know, what's so interesting is I have I'm a mum of two, so little Marley, who's a 2-year-old, and Tommy, who's a 5-year-old, who goes to kinder. And we live down at the Surf Coast in the community of Janjak, so he goes to Janjak kinder. And he comes home, and the conversations that I have with him about what he's learning about our culture is unbelievable. Like, he's teaching me so much stuff.
Yeah.
And I just find just then that I've like written, welcome to country on the post-it, like,
wow. You have to also get it right.
I know, but it's like, and I've spoken to Cheryl about this, like, this generation that's coming through, it's like what they're learning at kinder is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it blows my mind. But yeah, welcome everyone. Our small little group, but great to have you here. As I said, my name's Fee. So I work here at Bicycle Network. I'm the client and program manager. So there's a few things that I do here, and one of them is that I look after our women's participation here at Bicycle Network, so supporting women on bikes. So whether that's through our programs or our events, we're always putting on amazing initiatives to support that space. We do have Anna, who is going to be part of our presentation tonight, and Anna has very kindly accepted to come along and talk to us about her experience of doing peaks. So not only once or twice, but she has actually completed it 3 times. She's trained up for it 4 times.
4 this year, but you know, the landslides. Anyways.
So I'm super stoked to have you on board, and thank you so much for your time. And we have my colleague Lewis, who has been a part of executing the event for a number of years, but he is our event manager for next year's event, which is really exciting. So on that, I'll just let you know, as you know, the toilets are already down there, but yeah, you need to use some toilets down there. We've got pizza over here. There's a meat one and a veggie one and a gluten-free one, and some drinks. I did get out a lot of alcoholic drinks, so I just found some orange juice and some water. So please just help yourself as we're going along. And please, if there's any questions, just call them out. It's a nice intimate group. But yeah, if you don't know, we're also having a Peaks Info Night tomorrow night as well, and that's open to everyone. But we did want to take this opportunity to put on a women's specific info night, just to give that opportunity for women to, you know, come together if they're feeling like it's, you know, a little bit too much for them or a bit too intimidating with everyone. So yeah, we always put on different initiatives to support this space. We do have a number of other things that we'll be doing in our women's community for Peaks that's women specific. So we have a training ride coming up this weekend on Sunday, which will be our wave leaders that will be taking that, as well as a descending skills session as well. So that's free of charge. We're covering that because we know that can be one of the barriers when it comes to women participating in the event, is a real lack of confidence. And in particular with this event, we can see that descending, this is the feedback that we've seen over, you know, the past 10 years, that the descending can be like a real barrier for women. So we're putting on these initiatives to break down those barriers. So Stu McKenzie, a highly reputable cycling coach in the women's space as well, he's going to be putting on the descending skill sessions. So that's what's kind of coming up very soon over the next like couple of weeks. But always just go to our website and see what else is coming up. Hello, come on through. I've just been rambling on and then just done an introduction, so you haven't missed out on much. But I'm Fee from Bicycle Network. We have Anna, a peaks rider of 3 times over, and over here, yeah, I know, 3 times. And Lewis, our event manager. But yeah, on that, I'll hand it over to our event manager, Lewis, who will go through the route of peaks and just give you a bit of an overview of peaks.
Thanks a lot, Fee, and thanks so much for inviting me here. It's great that I have the opportunity to chat with such a small group. And basically, I'm really just here to support the discussion I built. So if you have questions, ask. I'll speak briefly, but please just fire away any questions that you may have that are of concern. So this is the route. Obviously, it's we're starting and finishing at Falls Creek. It's 235 kilometres. You know, what goes up must come down. So some of that is uphill, some of that is downhill. 3 major climbs. Obviously, Toowoomba Gap is the first one. But I should mention as well, because we start this ride at early, we start at 6:30-ish in the morning. It is cold. One thing we do if you're wondering about, here, it's green. We encourage you to dress warm to start with. So basically, you start on a descent, right? So we actually do a warm clothing drop when we get to Mount Beauty as well. So if you think it's 6 o'clock, I don't like riding in the cold, you can wear a puffer jacket and you can ditch your puffer jacket down at Mount Beauty. So that's one good thing. Anyway, then we have the route. So basically, Toowoomba Gap's the first climb. That's a really nice short climb, but it's quite pinchy, quite steep. But it can be over and done with quickly-ish. Anyway, then we proceed around. This is a bit of a flat section through here to Harrietville, and then we start probably one of the best climbs that you'll ever do in your life. Mount Hotham is such a beautiful, beautiful view the whole way up. So it's 20. Is it there? 29.9 kilometres. I was going to say 30, but it's 29.9, so I won't sell it short. It's kind of done in 3 sections, that climb. I don't know, has anyone ridden the Hotham climb before? Yeah. So, couple. Yeah. So you'll know. So basically, it's that first 10 kilometres steep. The next 10 kilometres is quite beautiful and rolling, pretty flat, or false flat. And then that last 10 is a bit rolling as you go, a bit of up, bit of down as you go through. Rolling? Top.
You mean CBR Hill?
That's what I mean. Then you summit Mount Hotham. That's pretty cool. Dinner plane, we have lunch. That's approximately halfway around. And then we get open into the East Gippsland side of things. And obviously, we stop in Omeo, beautiful riding around through here on the Omeo Highway towards Angler's Rest, before we get to the Backer Falls turn-off, and up we go for the Backer Falls climb, which you've probably heard rumours that climb is tough. That's probably only because you've had 200 kilometres in your left, 200 kilometres ridden in your legs at that stage. Once you get past that mental barrier, and like Anna put a great suggestion before, get up to Falls Creek, ride the Backer Falls, tick it off now in your training so that you know that you've done it. Then come Sunday, the 12th of March, it's easy, right?
And it's also like, it doesn't matter how slow you go, like just don't get off, because like it's harder to get going again, really. Like, you know, you literally would have to roll down a little bit to then go up. So just grind. You don't worry about anyone else, just, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Somewhere around here, Trapyard Gap, there it is. This year, we're going to have some pump-up tunes, some music, getting you there for that last 20 Ks of the ride to really like spur you on. And also you get a can of Coke, which is probably the best can of Coke you'll have in your life as well. So that last climb is going to be a fun one this year or next year. Look, that's the route overview. Obviously, if you've done a Bicycle Network ride before, you'll know that it's very well supported on the road. So all of our route management, our rest and lunch areas are well stocked with good nutrition and hydration. That's, I guess, what do we have? We have SAS hydration. We have winners winners gels, winners bars, bananas. I mean, depending on where it is, this will be available on the frequently asked questions on our website. And again, tomorrow night, you'll be talked to by Stephen Lane and Richard Cross, two of our ride leaders as well, in an information session. But basically, we have really good food and hydration for you. There's a valet service that we offer. So if you want something taken from here to Dinner Plain and get it at lunchtime, that's provided. And again, you can give something to Dinner Plain to get taken back to the finish line. That's provided. Obviously, our event's timed. Sag wagon, that's supporting gear. So that basically means, well, you probably know what a sag wagon is. That's the thing at the rear of the field. If you can't ride Peaks Challenge, that's okay. You can't complete it, that's okay. We'll pick you up and we'll take you back to Falls Creek. And there's absolutely no shame in not being able to complete it in your first crack, because it's a bloody hard ride. Don't get me wrong. Mechanical support, we've got various mechanics. We've got a roving mechanic on the course as well. First aid, they are positioned at all rest sites. And of course, particularly on the climbs and descents, there are changed traffic conditions and in many cases, fully closed roads to all vehicles. So that's that. Please fire away any questions as well once I finish talking, or now, whenever you want. I should mention as well, Anna's already mentioned obviously the cancellation of this year's event, 2023. That was because of a landslide on this one here at Bogong Village. If you don't know, Falls Creek has had a successful winter season, so that road's open up and going again. I mean, it's successful other than not as much snow this year, unfortunately for them. But yeah, so that road's fine. It's safe for cyclists again. We, Bicycle Network, myself, we work really closely with Vic Roads, Falls Creek Resort, Vic Police, many stakeholders, local councils, etc., to make sure that these roads are looking really good come March. It is a major event on there, like the Alpine Shire calendar as well. You may also hear a rumour maybe floating around on Facebook at the moment as well about the state of a bridge on the Omeara Highway. I can assure you right now, Vic Roads have released a statement saying that is fine and suitable for vehicles under 5 tonne. A bike is under 5 tonne. So the advice there at the moment, if you want to go up and ride, that's fine. Just obey all signage, follow traffic conditions, etc. Again, we'll work closely with Vic Roads to make sure that that's in good condition. Obviously, we need our vehicles being able to go around it, but it shouldn't be an issue come March. It's a major thoroughfare from Gippsland to Albury anyway, so that will be a priority, probably more so than the road that Oakland Highlands Road was. I'm just going to pull up my notes to make sure that.
Any questions?
What's the information session tomorrow? I just need to see it that way.
Yeah, so the information session tomorrow, so you'll be in here. It'll be a generic first time with Peaks Challenge information session. So anybody?
Same as this.
Same as this? Yeah.
And there'll also be a video link as well. So it'll dial in.
There will be, yeah. So our captain, team boss man, Richard Cross, so he'll be here. So he's our 12-hour ride leader, and also our coach Stephen Lane, Dr. Stephen Lane, who does all of our training programs on our website. He'll be here as well. And they're really two great resources to ask all the specific training and.
I saw some links for some training rides for this as well for women.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't get that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, and I was just mentioning it, but yeah, I'll shoot off the details in a second. Our first one's this weekend. Yeah.
The only other thing from me, which I just wanted to say now, is if you are considering doing this ride, I mean, awesome that you are, accommodation is definitely one thing to get on top of early, just because Falls Creek Village isn't huge. And then obviously you only have a limited number of beds, and being a 6 a.m. start and we close the road here from 5 o'clock in the morning, it makes it challenging if you're staying in the garage to get up to the start line basically or somewhere else. So try to get in early, book accommodation at Falls Creek, book accommodation for at least a few nights, really soak up the atmosphere. That is probably the best atmosphere or the best weekend in Falls Creek all year. If you're a skier, you might disagree, but really, really cool time. So that's probably my tip. On our website, there's a link to Falls Creek reservations. They're really helpful in directing you to suitable lodges and so forth. Otherwise, just call, yeah, if you call Rider Services or Boston Rider Services, they can also put you in touch with them too. But like I said, I'm here all night, so fire away any questions you have. Anna can probably talk to more of the training questions for the time being, but yeah.
And it is good if you can get there on the Friday, because then you can like spend the Saturday just preparing and relaxing. Like you don't want to drive up Saturday morning, you gotta get your bike checked and then check in, and you know, it's just a nice way to ease into the weekends if you can get up on the Friday. So, yeah.
And just for the wakefulness, please help yourself to the pizza or anything to drink as we're going along. Training and preparation. So I might just start if that's okay. I'll just talk to answer your question. So with the training, so the thing with this event, this is the type of event that you really need to pretty much lock in now. I'm not saying that you need to get online and register into the event, but mentally, if you're going to go for it, this is the type of event you need to lock in now. So you've got plenty of time to train up and prepare for it because of the type of event that it is. Lewis mentioned about that we do have a professional and highly reputable coach that we here at Bicycle Network engage in, Stephen Lane. And as part of registering for the event, we do provide that program. It's free of charge for you to follow if you'd like to. But yeah, certainly you can follow that, or you can engage with other coaches, or you can do your own program. But from my experience, I wrote it many years ago. That yeah, locking it in nice and early and really being very clear with the why you're doing it, and having that clear understanding and that clear goal. But another great resource that we do offer are training rides throughout the whole campaign leading into the event. So we have a whole calendar of training rides that are up on the event website. They go through, all of the details. There are women's specific training rides as well, and we are kicking off our first one this Sunday. So all of the details are on there. The weather is looking a bit sketchy. So if it is cancelled because of the weather, we'll just put all of the details up there. But such a great opportunity to go along and meet other like-minded women that are very welcoming. Fats and Shell. I don't know what Fats is.
Fatsima.
I was like Fats. Fatsima, I should call her Fatsima. And Shell, they will be leading the ride, and they are wave leaders. But they're just they're
Lovely
so
humans.
very, very welcoming. And I think the great thing about kicking off our first women's training ride is, everyone's starting like now. Okay, so it's not like everyone knows each other. Yes, people know of each other, and some know each other and friends, but there'll be people that don't know each other, and there will be strangers, and there hasn't been all of these peaks training rides yet, so it's nice to start at the very beginning.
And you kind of need those people around you to, when you've got your own ride, you can be like, hey, do you want to join me as well? Because it's about the people on the journey as well. Like my friends are already just like, I can't wait for our peaks training, because they just love the training. So, reach out to your network, go to these events by Bicycle Network, and then, brands are doing shop rides. So just kind of keep trying different rides and building your network.
There's so many resources out there, but it's just knowing what's out there. But of course, not everyone's like that. Some people like to do all of their training themselves. But yeah, exactly. Also for the diary I mentioned before, we've got a December skills session. So that's the 18th of November with Stu McKenzie. You just need to book for that. It is for free. So we are subsidising the full cost for that. We have a cheese and wine night coming up 24th of January. and that will be our female peak wave leaders that will be presenting. So, you know, in a couple of months' time, you're really going to want to hear finer details. You're going to have, you know, more questions around the event that are going to be different to probably what you're wanting to get out of tonight's session. So that's a great opportunity to engage with our wave leaders and ask all those finer details. And we do have a second descending skills session, the 27th of January. But please just head to the event website, check out that training part where we've got all of the details there. I'll let you jump in, Anna. I was just gonna get that one in, but you go for it.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, as been mentioned, you know, it's good that they're starting these training rides now, because generally, like in the past, people start training like 12 weeks out. So you're kind of thinking like start December. So if you can start even now, like that's just going to give you even more time to really prepare your body for the grueling rides. I mentioned earlier on, you know, if you don't know where to ride, there's so many like good routes you can find on Strava. I love exploring, like I'll just like create a new route and be like, oh, what's here? But you know, for me, like my very first peaks, like I didn't really follow, like I don't think Stephen Lane had one in 2018, but I found this other company and they had like an Excel spreadsheet and it just said the Ks to ride each week. So it was just like, you ride on a Tuesday and a Thursday. So I'll do Q bully on a Tuesday, a speed session on the Thursday, and then long rides on the weekend. And I just tracked my numbers each week and made sure I was hitting it. And then that got me through. Like I wasn't, you know, trying to do anything special, just be like, yep. I don't know, like you know, when you see the program Stephen Lane has put together, like there's actually quite a lot of detail. Like he's actually pushing you to, you know, beyond what you think you can do. Like you're doing all these efforts and things. You know, I now do a spin class once a week at the moment and like trying to push 300 watts for like 40 seconds. And I know it's only 40 seconds, but that is actually going to make me a stronger rider out on the road. So, you know, by mixing up your training, like that's going to make you a better rider and get you to the finish line of peaks. And it's not just like on the bike, it's also like if you can tie in some strength work, that's really key as well. So glute activation, if you can get to a gym and just kind of do some squats and things like that. I know it can be hard if you don't know exactly what you're meant to be doing, but, you know, gyms are a great resource. You know, my first peaks, I was doing triathlon, so I was like also swimming and running. And then my second year, which was my best time, I started my strength training like weekly, and like the time difference was like 40 minutes, I think, from my previous year. So strength plays a massive factor. So yeah, any questions?
Cheryl, I'm not putting you on the spot. You've done peaks twice.
3 times. One time I had mechanical and didn't finish. So I've had the sandbagging experience.
Oh.
I blew up 5 spikes.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it was a major. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, no, don't know.
Off the back of what we just said, is there anything that you'd like to add in from your experience?
What I found personally really good for backward falls, because I had never done backward falls before I did it the first time at Peaks. Just couldn't get there. But I had done the 7 peaks, and one of those was the rider boardwalk. And boardwalk is similar length to the really tough bit of backward falls, but it's harder. So mentally for me, I went, oh, I can do that, I can do this.
Yes.
You know, so because boardwalk is really hard. It's, you know, it's steeper.
You've done board walk.
Yeah, I cried. I stopped on that 500
Yeah.
meters. That's the steepest green. I had to
Yeah.
stop and I couldn't get back on. And cars going past and I started crying.
Yeah.
I was adamant I would not walk.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had
So-
to get back on. But
So that's it. So then when you're in that period of time where you're going, this is really hard right now, you go, I can do it.
Yeah,
You know, it's, I can do this.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, no,
I
it's
think
awesome.
also, you guys usually do a training ride from Newham up to
We
Boardwalk?
do.
Yeah,
So
that's
we do every year.
It's a
Yeah.
great ride.
Yeah.
Further out. Yeah.
Or sometimes, if you don't want to start from Newham, starting in Nuji, that's 89K return ride.
Yeah,
which is
you
really
can
good.
wait for the group to come through and like join from there, like that's a nice ride.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're closer, you know, so they're easier to get to.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
90
so
minutes.
much experience without, yeah.
yeah.
And it's just really nice getting out of Melbourne and exploring these areas. Like, you know, you can go do Macedon, you've obviously got the Dandenongs, King Lake, Bawbor, Warby, you can go up to Lake Mountain, Donna.
Yeah, we're so lucky.
The other thing I find really useful is adventure rides. So to take the acid off just the numbers game. You know, so you are exactly what you're saying, creating the route, doing something a bit different, going on the adventure rather than having to just hit the numbers the whole time, watching your watts and watching your, you know.
And I never
Mixing
watched
ups,
that. I never looked at my watch.
Yeah.
You just ride.
Just right.
Another good ride to do is like riding from here down to Portsea and back. It's like, for me, like you're obviously not getting the elevation gain, but you're getting the time in the saddle because it can still be like an 8-hour day in them. And it's just like, so, you know, you don't always have to be climbing up the biggest hills around Melbourne. Time in the saddle is just as important. So, yes.
Did you say taking the acid off? Is that what we're,
Yeah.
what we aware?
Yeah. I'm probably saying.
it's so
Yeah, because it
Such a
it
key.
can be such a grind, and
Yeah.
this is the tricky thing when you're training up
Yeah.
for this type of event. You don't want it to become a grind, and when you're riding that many kilometers a week training up for it, you need to find a way to take the acid off.
And I think as females too, it's kind of like, it's really important that you try and keep at your pace. Because I think a lot of men are very well-wishing and trying to be super helpful, but their pace and their strength, like the best time that I did was the last peaks I did. And I had to make the decision to drop off. I was well and truly in the 9-hour group. I had to drop off the 9-hour group for the ride to the base of Mount Hotham because I knew when I looked at my power meter that I was just going to blow up if I kept riding at those watts because it was super surgy and it was just too much for me. So that was a really smart decision I made on the day because I just knew I'm looking at it and going, these guys are going to blow me to bits, you know. So a lot of the guys, like, they're well-wishing and they're meaning well and they're trying to help, but sometimes you have to just understand you over and above that, you know. So you have to.
My
make the
mantra is
decision.
slow and steady up.
Yeah.
Because there's no point pushing, because that's when you blow up. And it's a really long day. Actually, can you bring the map back up?
Yep.
I've never actually, there's only 1 year, like from where Germantown to the base of Hotham. Like that's when you can really get swept up in some trains and you can draft. And like my last peaks, which was my worst, I was hanging on for dear life. And then I kept dropping back to the next one, waiting for them to take me. And I was just like, and then I just had the worst climb up Hotham. So it's not like, I was literally like throwing up, like, it, you know, when it kind of comes up and then goes back down, like it was, I was like in the worst headspace. And like I said, I saw a friend at the stop halfway up Hotham. There's Buckland Gap, there's a water stop there. And I was lucky to run into a friend who was also feeling really shit. And we were both just like, let's just get to the top of Hotham and see how we felt like. And then we got to the top of Hotham. Then you start descending and then you have fun. So
And then the other really, my second year, so outside of Omeo, there is a bit of a climb and it's a stunning road, this road. I realized I had around 6 guys behind me. And I was just like, whoa. And again, it's like after the climb, it's kind of like a false flat and it's like this sandy colored road. It's stunning. And then so I was just like, all right, guys, rolling turns, 1 minute each on the front. And then we got to Angler's Rest so quickly. And also by the time we got to Angler's Rest, I only had one guy with me. And like, I didn't feel like I was pushing like outside my limit, but it's just like being really smart to be like, yep, okay, these people are too fast for me. Or if you realize, hey, there's a group of us, like, why don't we work together? Because, you know, you just benefit. And I met this lovely guy from Sydney and like, as Shed said, like men are faster. Like it's no denying, like they just go up hills. It's always just like, yeah, see ya. So I met this guy from Sydney and as soon as we get to WTF corner, I said to him, I go, just go like, you know, because I made the assumption that, you know, you'll go. And like we rode the whole way up. Didn't even feel how hard the back of falls was because it was just like, oh, we're just chatting about these kids, blah, blah, blah. It was like, wow. So you know, it's a long day, so you got to ride within your limits, but then also like look around and be like, okay, what can I do here to make it a bit easier? But like, yeah, from Germantown to Harriettville, yep, you can jump on a train, and then outside of Omeo, that's another good one. So,
The first bit of Omeo, there's still quite a bit of elevation in there.
Yeah.
So just remind yourself you don't have to be pushing up that, you just got to get up it.
Yeah.
Because you can burn up a lot of matches in that section before you get to running down the gorge, and the gorge is stunning and it's fast. It's really fast. So you can make it a lot of time through that gorge. You know, you don't have to push hard up those inclines coming out of Omeo. You can just remind yourself, just chill a bit. You've got still a lot of riding to do, even though you feel like you're getting close to the finish, you've got a lot to go.
yeah, I think I rode with the 11-hour ride leaders out of Omeo, and yeah, that time, they were just as like, I was like, so you got to be prepared for those times when, you know, people just take off and you just is like, oh my gosh, but you know what, just do you, because you don't know their story and it's fine. It's not about like smashing it, it's about finishing. Just slow and steady, just get up those hills.
I will say, like when we're talking through all of this and the training and the preparation, it's not just about Peaks 2024 upcoming event that we're talking about. You know, you might be interested in doing Peaks 2025, and like certainly, you know, if you want to have access to the training rides, and you're thinking about doing Peaks 2025, like you're more than welcome to come along, because you do need to be ready to commit and put in the time with training and preparing. So not everybody might be in a position to be able to prepare on time for 2024, but yeah, it's not just next year's event that we're talking about. Just a bit off tangent, but I'm reading a book at the moment about the Thai cave diver rescuers, Craig and Dr. Harry. But just last night I read a quote by Dr. Craig. I won't be able to say it word to word, but he was saying that everybody's capable of doing extraordinary things, but you just have to have the drive to do it. And that resonates very strongly with me. In particular, talking about this event, that quote like came back to me. I was reading that last night when I was half asleep and turned off the light, and I was just like, oh, that quote. And that's so true, you know, with Peaks. Like,
My my screensaver on my first Peaks, I designed a little thing that said, Anna, you can do this. So every time I pulled out my phone, because you do have moments of like, oh my gosh, like, and then it's just that positive reinforcement. You can do this. So
that, yeah, for me, like it actually comes down to your drive, that why, the want. Yeah.
It's very achievable.
It really, like, And I can, you know, you can say that, we can say that from experience, that we have been there, we have done it, and yeah.
I don't even know why I did it the first time. Like, I honestly don't. I just set myself the challenge, I think. And I went up with someone from the Tri Club who had done it 4 times previously and never finished. And not that he was a downer, but he went in with that mentality, like, I'm not going to finish. So firstly, like, oh my gosh. And then like he was trying to explain to me like, oh, there's a bump in the road here and blah, blah, blah. And I'm a rider of like, excuse me, you know, I don't need to know because the road is what it is and you can't change that. So like, I'm not going to remember that bit's bumpy. So
He sounds like a downer to me. Did he finish?
he not that year.
No.
So I finished on my first go and he did it like 5th time. Still, he did it in 20.
You should have said, I would that bump, that's why.
Yeah.
He did it in 21.
So we all like ran down to the finish line.
Can I get you to
Yes.
free to
Yeah.
our
This one.
event weekends?
Yes. So, yeah, so as Lois was saying, like, you know, Falls Creek is just amazing. It's just buzzing. Everyone up there is there to ride. They're all up there for the same reason as you. And it's just like-minded people. Like, what's not to love about that? So, yeah, there's so much to take in. So that's why it's really important if you can get up there on the Friday. Then on the Saturday, you can kind of just take your time. Because you know, you get these bags, so the stuff that Lois was talking about. So there is a bit of prep for the actual day. So you're thinking about, okay, what food do I want? You got to think about there's 2 valet bags that what you put in there, you never see again. So you got to be prepared for that. You know, you take everything up with you, like everything. The weather could be like crystal clear. You pack your rain gear because you just never know. Like, just take everything up because then the night before you can be like, all right, I might want some fresh socks for dinner plane and, you know, I want them back. So that's a bag that does go back to Falls Creek at the end of the event. So, and then obviously on the Saturday evening, there's
Yeah, we'll have the rider briefing.
Yes.
Yeah, on Saturday evening in the village. All times will be confirmed as we get closer to the event. We also have wave leader briefings and we'll have a women's community specific briefing as well, where you'll meet all of the female wave leaders that will brief you, which is a great opportunity to all get together. Lewis has mentioned about accommodation and booking early. If you are a solo traveller and you're looking at booking with somebody else, you've got my email address, so just reach out. So if I can possibly connect you with other women that I know of that are looking for accommodation, just flick me an email or give me a call. I will pick up the phone, Cheryl. Cheryl called me about 8 times today and I kept on her call. But I do work 2 days a week, so just always leave a message. And the other thing is, if you're looking at, you know, carpooling, again, if you're a solo traveller, just let me know and I can look at making connections. Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing about booking early for a com, also think about eating meals and dinners and so forth. There's a few restaurants around, like there are definitely places to eat, but do try and make bookings for those as well, just if you don't want to cook for yourself. A lot of the lodges that you're staying will be prepped with kitchens and the like, but just something to think about, obviously. Are you going to have dinner the night before?
And now's the time to book because they finish their ski season. So they're kind of like, all right, we're over that. So you can future book. It's also really good if there's some places or spas on the balconies. And that's so good. Sunday night, you just is like, it's the best feeling.
It is.
And quite a few places do have them now as well. So, you know, bit of a luxury sometimes. But yeah, like, you know, I've been quite lucky that, you know, each year, like I inspired some of my friends to come and do it. So like first year there's 2 of us, the second year I think 8. And then we got up to like we booked out like a 5-bedroom
like penthouse apartment because we just had that many people. So yeah, like being able to share accommodation, split those costs is also really super helpful. I had a friend get there at like 5 o'clock on the Saturday, and it was just such a stress for her. And I was just like, yeah, because you do have to get your bike checked, that you got your brakes are working, you got lights. So don't think like, oh yeah, I can just rock up at 8 o'clock or whatever. So
Yeah. It is nice if you can make it a Friday and Saturday thing, if you've got the time.
Yeah, so just on that, so on the Saturday, there are some formalities that do take place. Steve's mentioned already, but basically what happens, you register, first thing you do when you get there when you get to the village on the Saturday, you get your bike checked. So we have a few mechanics and people that know about bikes, basically just do the basic checks to make sure all brakes, lights, etc. are all working. From there, you get a little slip that says, yep, bike's been ticked off. You head to the ticket booth, and that's where we give you your rider pack that has your seat post sticker and some other bits and bots, belly bags. And then after that, you sort out your belly bags, as Anna said, and then you give them to our team, and that's all done on Saturday. Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock, we have the all-in rider briefing. Basically,
Middle photo.
middle photo there at the top left as well. Basically, that's effectively where I'm going to stand, where that feather flag is, and everyone's going to be down on the grass down below. And so you hear from a lot of people. We hear from Team Bicycle Network. You'll hear from
the place.
police. Yeah, you'll hear from Ali, our CEO. You hear from Falls Creek. You hear from Lee Turner, who will give a big pump up speech. It is quite fun. We do request that attendance in that is mandatory. It is all important information, so we come along. But I also strongly recommend you head to the in-person women's community briefing, also the members briefings, just a couple of hours prior to that as well, because that's where you can really ask those little questions that you just want to get answered.
Yeah.
In a safe space.
That's it. In a safe space. We're not 2,000 of your best mates around.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks, Lewis. And the Sunday ride day.
That's my first pace.
I don't know how it jumped.
You're
but I
looking
did.
very happy.
Yeah, I finished.
Oh,
I felt three things in my first pace crossing the finish line. One was I got up the back of falls without getting off my bike. I finished sub 12, like 11:27. So I was just like, whoop, and I finished. Anyways, yeah. So like, your first goal is just to finish, and anything else is just a bonus. So as Lois mentioned, it's really good that I think my first year didn't do the hoodie drop. So yeah, so you wear something that is going to be donated to charity. So again, you're not going to see that thing. You might go buy something, but the descent down falls is pretty chilly. Like we're talking 14 Ks before you get the first kind of little up. And that, obviously everyone, you're kind of all jammed in. So you kind of just got to take your time as well. Like I love descending, but even I just go, all right, guys, like it's a long day. I've seen people on the side of the road, on the side of falls, and it's just like, was it really worth it? Like you cooked it so hard and like your day's over now. So, just let people go around you, but just be cautious as well that, there are some hot heads and they just go for it. So, but yes, what was I going to say? Yeah, like, you just have to keep getting to the next stop and the next stop and the next stop. Like, just keep spinning those legs, whatever helps you. Like that can of Coke, as I said, is the best Coke you'll ever have. You go on these hot rides over summer, you might go to 7-Eleven, get a Slurpee. That's always good as well. But making sure you have enough nutrition. Oh, that's what nutrition. Haven't even gone there yet. So you got to do what works for you. My general rule of thumb is whatever your body weight, 10% of that in carbs. So like if it's 60 grams of carbs, like you really got to start reading labels. Like if you get a Cliff Bar, and you know there's like all the different flavors, like some might be 40 grams of carbs and some are like 26. So you really got to start paying attention to that and be like, okay, so if I have one Cliff Bar and one gel, or if I have a banana, like kind of weighing up and you just, I actually have my Garmin beep every half an hour as a reminder to eat, because you don't want to wait until you bonk out because it's too late. So in the training rides, you got to eat on the bike. Just practice that. I literally took friends and would hold their hands like on Burnley Boulevard, just so that they can be comfortable riding one-handed. Having a bento box on your top tube is also really good because you can just, you know, you might only take half a bite of something and shove it back in. Cargo bins, I reckon they're also really good because, you know, you can just stuff things in the side, good for rubbish as well. Yeah, don't eat anything new on race day. Don't do anything that you haven't tried and tested before. Like don't buy new bibs. Like make sure that the bibs you've worn have done at least a 150k bike ride previously. So you don't change anything on race day or event day. Sorry, not a race. That's a race against the clock. So yeah.
Yeah, it is a massive day. It's a huge day. If you haven't yet registered, you might not know this, but when you register, you do nominate yourself for what time you would like to, what wave you would like to ride in. So it needs to be completed by 13 hours, and then the first wave is 7.
First wave is 8. Yeah, but we probably have a handful of people that go under 8 hours. Yeah.
So officially we have 8 to 13 hours. So when you're starting, you will be categorized into those times, and then we have the wave leaders that will represent each time. But yeah, whether you sub 8, 13, it's a massive day for everyone. It's just epic. It's just huge. Just to add to what Anna's been saying about event day, you're very well supported out on the route. So, Lewis has talked about the lunch side and the rest stops, and there's all of that support and toilets, etc. Lewis has mentioned about nutrition being out on the road and the valet bags, and it's such a well supported event. Certainly, it's my favourite event in the portfolio of what we do. And I think I was going to say this, but it's pretty much a lot of people that work here at Bicycle Network, they love like peaks. Like Lewis has one of the best jobs in the world, like being the event manager of peaks, because it's just, we have so much buy-in into this event. We love it. It's very well supported. It's an epic day.
Yeah, and then when you finish and you get the jersey and then you wear it on the street, someone kind of gives you a
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, there's like this mutual respect, because it's just like, oh yeah, I know what you did to get that. So, you never see these jerseys on the Bicycle Network clearance sale ever, because if you can buy it, then what's the point? So, it's pretty special getting that first jersey. That feeling is great. And then that Coke. So like you just, in all your training rides, you gotta ride in the rain, you gotta ride in 40 degrees, because what it is on the day, you just never know. I was lucky in 2020 that work sent me to Adelaide and I couldn't get out of it. And that was the year it rained. It was a miserable year. So you don't know what's going to happen on the day. So be prepared for anything. Last year was perfect.
Well, last edition was pretty nice. Yeah.
I think were really good, like perfect conditions. So yes, any questions?
I'll just add as well on the finisher's jersey, and like there's often a lot of confusion around around your time. Your time starts
you.
when you start the ride. So when you cross over that first timing point under the start line entry. So you're not going to bet it, like you're not going to get. You're not doing yourself any favors if you try and start with 8-hour riders, if you're expecting to ride 12 hours. In fact, you're just doing you a disservice really, because you're going to get caught up in the wrong riding group. So respect that. I guess if you're not quick, let the quick people do the 8, 9, 10 hours, etc. Start in your suitable wave and just ride to the group that you're comfortable with riding. Yeah, you're not going to bet your time because what might happen is you might think you've finished within the 13-hour time frame, but because you started 15 minutes behind when you should have, or earlier than you should have, you'll actually be 13 hours and 15 minutes. And unfortunately, you won't get that finisher's jersey. So
That hurts.
yeah, and that really hurts. So
So is it based on your own timing too?
it's great based on your own timing chip. Yeah.
So another good thing is to not auto pause your Garmin that day, because, you know, you'll obviously stop for toilet and food and stuff. So if you if it's not auto pause, then you kind of be like, oh, what is that? So just
Leave it running.
leave it running.
Yeah, it's probably just something that can cause just a lot of unnecessary disappointment sometimes. I guess is one thing. So yeah.
Has it actually happened?
Yes.
Yeah, it happened to a former boss of ours. He got 13 hours and 1 minute.
Oh
And he got a
no.
jersey, so-
And the former GM.
1 minute, come on.
1 minute. Wow.
Yeah.
But he understood.
He was like, you know, one of the originals of bringing the event to life and starting it.
Yeah.
So he was such a stickler with the timings, which is just so ironic that he did just missed out.
And the good news is they do a women's fit now as well for the jerseys.
Yes.
So yeah. My first one is like a box.
Yes.
We do with this bit.
Just mindful of time, so we might just.
Oh, this is
Just got 2 more
Post ride.
slides. So event weekend post ride.
so like on the Monday, like there's all these lakes at the top of Falls Creek. So like if you go put your feet in, like it's just going to help with the recovery. Even a light spin, like probably not really. And then snoozing in the car on the way home.
Yes. Yeah. Really think through now about how you're going to get home. Who are you driving with? Like, yeah.
Yeah, there's like 2 ways to leave. So
But
it's a long weekend in Victoria. Regardless, you're going to hit traffic. So
yeah, but you do need a plan with that. Like I would highly recommend not driving by yourself.
it's a long drive. And the other thing is, if you haven't stayed up at Falls Creek before, when you first get there, like you drive up to your accommodation, get everything out of your car, and then you go take the car back down to like the car park. So you can't just leave your car in front of your accommodation.
Hello.
I am. You made it.
Welcome to the end of our presentation.
Last minute.
I know we're talking post event now.
How many of you got
tried?
And that's the best bit about Coke and everything.
Oh,
There we go.
Yes.
Yes.
We don't have me drinking a Coke or you handing me one.
No.
That's
Oh, I
nice.
got that. Yeah. But yes.
And I think our very last slide after that is just any questions.
Can you read through the whole thing?
Sure. So Em's done it previously as well.
Which I love. There's all this, wealth of knowledge, but just, different experiences and backgrounds.
And one year I didn't end up writing, so I volunteered handing out those fruits. So it was the best day because it was so good to be able to give back. You know, I forfeited sitting on my friends across the finish line. I mean, I gave them their Cokes, so that was great. But it was really fun. It was great seeing like the first person ride through because it just was like, whoa, yeah, super fun. And just seeing like all the different groups of people coming through, and they're just so grateful.
It really is all different types of riders. Like It really is.
You can't stereotype them.
No. And you know, people with all different types of kit, and it's
Yeah. No kit shaming that.
no, and I love that.
I always buy a new jersey though because you know it makes me feel good and it makes me okay. Yeah. So
If you're going to wear a jersey and if it has something like eye-catching on the back, be willing to talk about it.
yeah.
The person who had peaks for pies, like, so, peaks for pies, and he was like, ooh. So do you have pies at the end? He's like, ooh. Like, okay.
Do you know the
See you
person
then.
wearing that jersey? It's like I've seen it as well. Is there like, are you all thinking of doing next year?
signed
You've signed up. Yeah, and first time.
Yes.
But you've ridden Wobble, so.
Yeah, I did the 7 peaks back
Yeah.
in 2019, 2020. So,
Yeah. You
other
can do
than
the
that,
Wobble again this summer.
but, oh yeah, I might try.
But there's no jersey these days.
No, I think I might have been the last
Yeah.
year that got the
They
jersey.
were nice jerseys.
Yeah, I don't know why they stopped.
COVID.
And are you both thinking?
I'm thinking maybe the following year,
Yeah.
but jumping in on all the training
Yeah.
rides this time around.
Yeah,
And trying to like build up that stamina
Yeah.
again in communities.
Like the great thing about those training rides is just that opportunity to speak.
Yeah.
To other people, like-minded women, like-minded men, and you know, like just that opportunity can be so empowering. You know,
And that's what I'm
just hear-
thinking and kind of seeing how it goes. Because I've been thinking about this for a while, but
Yeah.
I just never
Yeah.
felt like I'm in a position to start it.
Well, you Yeah.
And
started
again,
now.
yeah, that's why I forced myself here today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
so
Yeah, yeah. So
See
just
how
always
that
go back to the event website and just check out the details on there. But you're more than welcome to come along and see what it's all about. And you know, next year when we do our social night again in January, like come along, listen, like get more than welcome to. Yeah, it's just to hear people's different experiences and their stories as to why they're doing it. And yeah, in my opinion, and that's what works for me. But the more that I can hear that, the more confidence I get. Like, yeah, and then I think, oh, if they can do it, I can do it. You know, like, yeah,
yeah, that why I think is important too. 'Cause you gotta, yeah, remember to get back on the bike every day to do all the training.
the why.
Why am I doing it?
It's just my it's just my, for me, that's how I'm wired, but the why is so important. Like, yeah, I'm training up for a half Ironman in November at the moment, and just like I'm a mum of 2, I don't want to eat into my family time with my training, so it's stupid, but I get up at like 3:30 to start my training at 4. You know, to get in that 100K like ride and the 15K run afterwards. And like that, the why becomes so important because it's like, why am I doing this? Like I'm a 44-year-old woman, a mum of 2, like, you know, there's so much that could really kind of pull me down and bring me undone. Because of where I am with my fitness and what I used to be like 10 years ago, and it's like, but the why is like so strong, and it just, that's what keeps on. It'd be so easy for me to like not go ahead with this. Like, I'm going to be one of the last ones going over the finish line, but the why just like drives me so much. Like it really does. And I'm just, I can talk from my experience, like it's all possible, but you just need the drive, the want to do it. Like if I can, like I'm not a swimmer, I'm not a rider, like if I can do that stuff, I'm so confident that really anyone can. Just need the time and the drive. Yeah.
Were there any key reasons why like people are hesitating or not sure and that jumped out? If you want to share or not? Is it mainly fitness?
Previously it was,
Yeah.
fitness.
I think it's one that peaks is one of those ones where, you know, everyone's like 3 peaks. Like, oh my God, you did 3 peaks. I think that actually kind of works against it because I think it's got more achievable than what people think.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I signed up on the Thursday and did it on the Sunday. But that's because I was convinced that because I'd broken my elbow the October before, I was convinced I wasn't fit enough and I hadn't spent enough time on the bike. And I was going on these training rides with friends and they're like, you're fine. I'm like, no, I haven't done enough. So I got there and I was like, if I pull out of dinner plane, that's more than I thought I was going to. So when I was going up off them, I knew that I was fine. From that point on, I was actually the most intolerably cheerful person to be around because everything from there was bonus.
Yeah.
So I think you can also look at it like that and just be like, you know,
Like,
this is just
if you
to do it,
start
to turn
now,
the legs
this
over.
weekend, you can totally do it in a month.
I
Like,
spent
there's
like
no,
40 minutes at dinner plane. I did a complete costume change because I had clothes there, so why not? I was waiting for my friend to get to me, so then we could get some food and keep on going. Like, I had no care what time I was doing. It's just about having a good time and meeting people. And you kind of are riding around with other people.
Yeah.
So then you're in this great group and you knew people from St Kilda, so then we'd run into other people. Spent half the day riding next to somebody who turns out he was riding for like the same esports team that I was riding for in a different group. Found that out at the end of the day and knew a whole pile of people in common. So I think it's just one of those things, like there's so many reasons on the day, which are not just counting the Ks uphill.
Yeah, and I think also if your training doesn't quite go to plan, just it's okay.
Yeah.
Because my first experience with things, it got really messed up because of some personal things that went on in my life. And my girlfriend was like, well, you're entered, you've got the accommodation.
Yeah.
What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to end up in the sag wagon.
Yeah.
And I finished and it was, I literally rode it at my pace because I couldn't stick any groups on the day. Just kept riding. You know,
that's a,
and as long as you're monitoring yourself and you're checking in with yourself, you can do it. You can do it.
And you can spend it as much time at Trap Bagat hanging out with this one or somebody equivalent, chatting away,
that's right.
watching time go past. Doesn't matter.
It's really,
Yeah.
and it's a beautiful place to ride a bike.
Yeah.
It's
It's
amazing. Like it,
Yeah.
I can say personally, but personally for me, it's very spiritual.
Yeah.
It really not only, but I've just done it the one spectrum.
Yeah.
If you do the training and just, as I said, just keep getting to each stop and just like, then you get it and then you just is like, oh my God, I did it. Like,
Yeah.
I cried. I was just like, I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, oh, it's emotional.
I almost cried when I found out that Albie had turned the barbecue off. I was like, didn't you get my voice message?
So it does test you mentally, but
Yeah.
as well as
I think for mums particularly, it's like super awesome because you spend so much time caring for others. It's really good to do something for you.
Yeah.
It's
how
a
is
really,
yours now?
She'll be 2 next Wednesday.
Okay,
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah, and if
really
they
good to
come up
teach
with
them.
you, they can
Yeah,
see you
yeah,
over the line.
Oh, it's such a great weekend for families.
Yeah, they do like signs, the kids
Yeah.
make signs for
Yeah.
WTF corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful weekend to go.
And they even, if you bring family, partners, whatever, they do a social ride. So for those people who aren't riding in the event, so don't think like, oh, you stay in Melbourne whilst I go do this big bike ride. Like bring them and just be like, you guys can just hang out in the mountain and yeah,
Previously we did a kids ride.
yeah.
Sorry, I got a mouthful. Thanks, there is a kids ride. Falls Creek Resort Management, they run some kids activities on the day. So they'll do a kids ride through the village and
That's pretty cute.
for the kids.
Yeah.
And there's also kids activities that they just operate out of their marquee all afternoon on Saturday and Sunday.
You're probably thinking, I am not bringing my two-year-old. I want to sleep the night before.
Oh, yeah, we sorted out accommodation. My parents will come, because my partner's a chef, so he's got to work. But my parents will bring her up and they'll stay in Toowoomba. And I've got friends who've got booked accommodation already in Falls Village, and they said I can crash with them the night before.
Nice.
So I get some sleep that way.
that's cool.
I'm stoked for you. I think that's an amazing thing to lock in, and obviously having a 2-year-old, I'm like, oh, like, this is so cool, like, because it really is like to do this for yourself, and like the importance of that, the why,
Yeah,
you know, that you're doing something for yourself.
yeah, do it for myself, but also doing it so that she can see me doing it, like see me getting on the bike, on the trainer and everything, so.
I've got like this one. No, I really do. It's awesome. That's awesome. Any other questions at all? We might just then wrap up, but I'll be hanging out here for a little bit. So yeah, feel free to ask questions, help yourself to more people fruits. And yeah, a big thank you to Lewis and Anna for being a part of tonight. And thank you all for coming along and just, yeah, listening about Peaks and what it's all about, and for everyone sharing their stories and yeah, being so engaged. It's great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
And I've got little music. Thank you all.